I'm going to try again to whisperish talk. I don't know. So the notes we have from TVZ, you've shown that by getting more workers, you're just doing amazingly better at making a very big army very quickly. That is a game only. So it's obviously the right move, and it's obviously helping you. But first of all, cut at 72. You don't need 80, 85. You don't need 90. You don't need 100 workers. Second, you need to understand that Marines are great per dollar, but they're terrible per supply. So you never want to max out. If you're ever maxed out, you're losing. Don't max out. And don't get close to max out and then intentionally not max out because you're just trying to avoid maxing out artificially. Like, attack him at 140 supply, attack him at 140 supply over and over and over, or whatever. Third, the big weakness of Marines is that they die to AoE, as well as that they're terrible per supply. So, on the one hand, because they're bad per supply, you need to constantly be aggressive with them. They need to be out there fighting and dying constantly. But second, you need to spread them. You should never be fighting with a giant clump of Marines and losing like 25 Marines to 2 fungals. So, spreading is crazy hard when you have 80 Marines, when you have 115 Marines. When you have lots of Marines, spreading becomes nearly impossible, right? But when you have 12 Marines or 15 or 20, spreading becomes easy. You can just load them into 2 medevacs and carpet bomb them, and bam, they're spread, or whatever. So that's yet another reason why suicidal aggression is really crucial when you're going for a heavy Marine play. And by suicidal aggression, I just mean setting your rally points somewhere out in midfield-ish and just attacking every time you get enough Marines that you think that you should attack. And it becomes cool because you like drop play. You like putting things in lots of places at once. Also, this idle worker thing still bugging me. When you make buildings, rally them back to the mineral patch afterwards so that you never have idle workers, because this idle worker thing is kicking me in the teeth. Anyway. The cool thing about suicidal aggression, right? First big fight, you have too many Marines. It's too hard to spread them. You take massive AoE damage. He's prepared for it. You're fighting on creep. He gets surrounds with banelings. You lose a bunch of crap. It's very bad. You do the best you can. Spread your units out as much as you can. Usually patrol spread is the only option that can work with that many Marines. Second fight, you come back with 20 Marines, or 30, or 12, or however many you have. As soon as the first fight is over, you take all your Marines and you attack again immediately. That's the fight where you're going to be able to split easily because you don't have very many Marines. Also, the ratio of Marines to medevacs becomes much better for you. Almost every single one of your Marines is going to be healed by its own individual medevac, so the medevacs become much more powerful. Also, he's not going to have as much AoE because he's going to have blown a lot of his fungals in the first fight. Also, he's not going to have a lot of banelings because he's going to have blown them in the first fight. So the second fight is usually where you start to win. And sometimes it's not even the second. Sometimes it's the third or the fourth or whatever. But the point is, suicidal aggression means losing the first fight and then winning the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one, just coming back over and over and over. And you got to start doing that because it's awesome. Next thing we talked about, you need a thicker wall in at the front. This wall in is working for you only because nobody ever attacks it. But if they just busted it, if you bust 5 banelings right here, it's going to kill this bunker and these 3 depots, I think. And you're just going to be wide open to being dead. Next thing is 8 minutes. You want to have around $1,500 of army. And you do this time, so actually that's totally fine. Next thing, at 12 minutes, we've seen in previous games this problem where at 12 minutes you have 4 racks or 5 racks. And you should be going right at 12 minutes to 8 racks to 9 racks. Because that'll make them finish around 14 or 15 minutes when you really have this influx of money that you need to be able to spend. So right now you want to be going up to 9 racks. And in this case, you're actually doing it. Wow, it's funny. You haven't even watched these videos yet and you're already taking my advice. So you're going up to 7 racks. That's good, but not as good as 9. Also, as soon as these upgrades are done, you want to swap him to make a new reactor. Also, worker efficiency. So the way to calculate worker efficiency, what you do is you wait for a moment when there's no mules down, like right now. Then you open your calculator and you say 56 times 40. You should be getting 2,240 bucks a minute. And then you say, what am I getting, right? So this is, let's see, 11 2200 plus 336 divided by 2200, right? You're mining at about 65% efficiency. That's terrible. You should have 100% efficiency at this point in the game. There's no reason not to. The reason your worker efficiency is terrible is because you got 6 idle workers first, and you've got more than 24 workers on your main, and you've got almost no workers at your natural. This is only 10 workers. So worker efficiency has been bad in all of your games, but usually it's because you only have 12 guys at your main and a bunch of guys at your natural. This time it's the reverse. Point is, it's a big deal to be missing 35% of your money just because you didn't bother to put the right workers in the right places, right? 35% of your money. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Totally crazy. Also, dropping mules at appropriate times actually turns out to be pretty important, because otherwise, if you have to drop too many mules at once, you end up getting more money than you can spend and just starting a bank. And if you don't have the infrastructure to overbuild, then you never get to spend the bank. And if you do have the infrastructure to overbuild, that was a mistake too, because you spent money on Raxes that you could have spent on Marines. So either way, dropping a bunch of mules at once is bad. So these Raxes are finishing up right around 14 minutes, at the same time as 2-2 should be finishing if you started it at, I think, 8 minutes. Maybe, yeah, 8 minutes. Another thing I'd like to mention is you should be getting 2, maybe 3 starports. I usually go for 3 starports, 2 tech labs, 1 reactor core, but if you want 2, that's fine. The reason being that every game I've watched from you so far, you've ended up with too much gas at the end of the game, and the reason is because you're not, first of all, you're not using the starport that you have often enough. But second, once you get like 12 medevacs, you don't want more. But you still need to spend gas on something, and you're not spending it on tanks, and you're done with upgrades. So what are you going to spend your gas on? Banshees. That's what. Banshees, actually, if you just keep them with your Marine army, they don't do awesome, but they do well enough to justify having made them, in that otherwise you're just not going to spend the gas. So which is better? Spending your gas on a unit that does okay, or not spending it at all, you know? So, I mean, your options for gas units are more medevacs and beyond, like 12 to 16. That's not really helping. Vikings, not really helping. Marauders, again, probably hurting you more than it's helping you in these suicidal aggression games. Battle cruisers, actually good move. Go for it if you can get the infrastructure to make battle cruisers. That's totally fine. Ghosts, no, terrible. Tanks, we don't like tanks, man. They force us to fight in weird ways that prevent us from doing suicidal aggression. So anyway, you're back to the multi-pronged drop harass, and I like the multi-pronged drop harass, and you're good at it, and you're familiar with it, and it's cool, and I'm okay with you doing it. But look at where you are in this game compared to where you should be, right? 10 minutes, you have 40 workers instead of 45, 46 or something. 12 minutes, you got 52 workers still. You can have 52 workers at 10 minutes, so you're 2 minutes behind on workers. But more importantly, even than the fact that you're missing workers, is just how little money you're getting, right? At 12 minutes, you should theoretically be getting anywhere from like $2,400 to $3,000 a minute, and you're not even getting 2,000. You're just way behind on income, and because you're behind on income, everything is kind of off. So we're looking for the Uber Ops build should have a 200 unit space max at 15 minutes, and you should actually be attacking before that happens, because you don't ever want to max out. But theoretically, if you don't attack until after 15 minutes, you should have 200 U. So do you have 200 U at 15 minutes? Obviously no. You're nowhere near there.
Add-on complete.
This is just a silly thing to do. So on the one hand, it is important to attack before you hit 200 U. But on the other hand, it's important not to attack just before really crucial upgrades finish. And on the third hand, you never want to fight with less than 100% of your army at a time, because then you're just allowing 100% of his army to fight against 45% of your army, and he's going to crush it. He's going to kick its ass. So splitting up your army into 3 pieces is a good idea, and it's very beneficial, and you should totally do it, and you're good at it, and so you should keep doing it. But when you split your army into 3 pieces, all 3 pieces have to be fighting at the exact same moment. Because if this piece fights and then the next piece fights, then you're just going to lose a bunch of crap and be dead. And that's silly. I liked that you used patrol split. I didn't like how you used it. What you want to do is stim 1 Marine, send it way ahead. As soon as it gets attacked, all the rest of your Marines should stop wherever they are. In this case, it would probably be right about here. And then you should patrol spread before any fighting starts. So then the fight happens and your guys are already spread out. You don't want to just walk your guys in a giant clump, see the bad guy, try to patrol spread, realize that it didn't work because they're already in firing range, and then die. That's not good. So anyway, now is 15 minutes. This is when you should have 9K in the total army spending and 200 unit space of army. Instead you have 6K and 106 supply with only 62 workers, and your third is not landed. Also, this saturation balance is bugging me. 2-2's finishing at 16 minutes. It's a minute late. It's 2 minutes late, but I'm okay with it. You know, still good enough. 16 minutes. So you're 2 minutes late. It's still a great time to do a big 2-2 timing attack. So you're going to take every single unit you have and go fight with them all at once. And that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. But this is just not very many units because you killed off a bunch of Marines for no reason earlier. You lost a big battle for no reason, and it didn't do anything good. So now, when you're finally ready to do a big 2-2 timing attack, you should theoretically have a 7K army, and instead you have a 3K army, right? So that's a big deal. Anyway, this game just came down to economy. You said at the beginning of the game it's all about getting workers, and you were right, and you didn't get the workers, so of course you lost.